Hey everyone, this is Lego Desi. I am responding to My Intellectual Journey. He's a good YouTuber. Respect him and like his views. I like the way he articulates his points. So yeah, if you're not sub to him already, I think you should check him out at least. So anyway, he has asked a couple of questions of us, and I'm going to answer them in this video. Common misconception of atheists. All atheists are presumptuous and belligerent people. So, last summer I was a frequent visitor to the debate faith room at Stickam. And if those of you who have been there, you probably are already anticipating what I want to say about it. But these experiences I had last summer were the first where I was in a room where the majority of the people were atheists. And so they deeply influenced what I thought about atheists in general. Now I did have couple of good experiences there and made quite a few friends, but overall I got this impression of a culture that feeded on its own ego and motivated by thoughts of self-importance and superior intellect, or pretensions to a superior intellect. One example, I was there listening to like four people go back and forth arguing over whether fluoride whether the benefits associated with fluoride toothpaste outweighs the costs or the risks to one's health associated with fluoride toothpaste. And they were going back and forth for like a half hour over this, and they got kind of heated. None of them were willing to concede any of their points. And I was just like, really? Fluoride toothpaste, this is how you're going to spend your afternoon? But anyway, that's what led me to think that all atheists were pretty belligerent and like not open-minded at all. As I interact with people on multiple platforms as I got into college, or in my college life, as I became more friends with more atheists, and interacted with people on multiple platforms, on YouTube and in person, I find that this isn't the norm of people in general. I think that people in general are open-minded to some degree, depending on how you approach the conversation, how you approach the dialogue. Whether we are belligerent is often determined by the setup of the dialogue. It's often determined by whether the dialogue is set up as a sort of adversarial debate type of context, or if it's a dialogue in search of understanding what it is that we believe. And in addition to that, I found that some Christians are also pretty presumptuous and belligerent. In fact, recently I was just reminded of this fact. But that said, I just want to add one more note to that. I think that when you hold a view that most people in the world don't hold, you're a minority, and you're open to being misunderstood and caricatured. As a result, you'll find yourself in many situations where you'll feel the need to defend yourself all the time and defend your beliefs. And in the process of defending your beliefs so many times, you may become hardened to disagreement and may be bent to always being on the defensive. I know that I'm like this. I know in a college classroom, if a professor criticizes Christianity or criticizes the church, I have to sort of suppress this knee-jerk reaction to want to refute him or something like that. And this is the case even if I agree with what he's saying. It's because I've had to defend my beliefs for so long that I interpret any criticism of it as being hostile or an attempt to ridicule me. And so as a result, I can even be belligerent or close-minded. So I can sort of relate or understand where people are coming from when in conversations they take a position and they don't, give any room. But I have zero tolerance for it when it happens nowadays. So there you go. Common misconception of theists. All theists live in a social bubble, interacting only with people who agree with them. Now this has its examples as well, but it's not true of me. Firstly, yes, I was born to religious parents. But to label me a hand-me-down on the basis of that would be extremely hasty. It would ignore a huge chunk of my life that I affectionately call the in-between. That would cover the periods of my middle school and high school. My closest friends during this time were a lapsed Catholic, a devout Muslim, and this one person who was Buddhist by culture but agnostic by choice. So the biggest influences of my personality at that point of my life were non-Christian. I've never had any good Christian friends in high school. I would have had to wait until college to meet my first group of Christian friends, and until that, I had to figure out my own faith and figure out my own beliefs with much fear and trembling. Bible reference, if you caught that. But finally, third question. A common bond shared by me and a few other atheists. I think the trouble with this question is that I don't want to make a generalization because that would refute the purpose of this video. So, and whatever common bond I would have with other atheists wouldn't be by virtue of our having different beliefs, wouldn't be by virtue of their being atheist and me a Christian, but it would be by virtue of some coincidental facts like common interests that we have. At my college fellowship, my college Christian fellowship, we have weekly gatherings and weekly small groups, which is where we study the Bible together, and we make sure to invite our non-Christian friends to it. But I find it amazing that my non-Christian friends who would never step foot into a weekly gathering or into a Bible study are extremely passionate about volunteering with us when we go out and doing various projects like feeding the homeless or raising awareness of sex slavery. I find that agnostics and atheists, particularly in my school, care about that in a way that I didn't expect them to. And that's a common bond that I have with them, and it gives me hope that that all the hype of like Richard Dawkins, for example, or Sam Harris, who says that it's one or the other, that religion has to be eradicated or that religion will control everything, is untrue, because I think that we do have a common bond that enables us to find solutions to common conflicts. So there we go. That's my 3 answers for you, and God bless.